That can sitting in your pantry right now could be silently destroying your health. Behind those sealed lids hide dangerous sodium levels, BPA contamination, bacterial threats, and recalls that never made headlines. For seniors managing blood pressure or kidney disease, these hidden dangers are life-threatening. Coming in at number 13, we have Chef Boyardee canned pasta. You remember those commercials from decades ago? A cheerful can rolling down the street, bouncing along the sidewalk, landing in a happy family kitchen. Wholesome, affordable, convenient. The promise of a hot meal ready in minutes for busy families. What they never showed you was the nutrition label hiding inside. A single serving of Chef Boyardee beef ravioli packs over 900 milligrams of sodium. But here's the betrayal that makes this so dangerous. Most people eat the entire can. That is technically 2 servings according to the manufacturer. You are looking at nearly 1,800 milligrams of sodium in one sitting. The American Heart Association recommends seniors with high blood pressure consume no more than 1,500 milligrams per day. One can, and you have already exceeded that limit before lunch even starts. But sodium is only part of the problem lurking inside that can. FDA inspection reports have flagged production facilities for temperature control issues during processing. When canned foods are not processed at consistent temperatures, bacterial spores can survive the canning process. These microscopic threats remain dormant until the can is opened. For seniors with weakened immune systems, this creates dangerous conditions for foodborne illness. Symptoms like nausea, cramping, and diarrhea might seem minor to younger people. For someone over 60 on blood thinners or heart medication, these symptoms can trigger severe dehydration and dangerous medication imbalances requiring medical attention. The label proudly says, "Made with real beef." What it does not say is that beef is mechanically separated, heavily processed with preservatives, and swimming in sauce, loaded with hidden sugars and modified starches. The texture feels familiar. The taste brings back memories of childhood dinners. But your arteries do not care about nostalgia. Consumer complaints report cans arriving with dented seals, unusual odors upon opening, and visible discoloration in the pasta. These are warning signs of compromised seals and potential contamination. Is it not strange how billion-dollar food companies keep having recalls, yet their products remain on every grocery shelf in America? At number 12, we have Campbell's condensed soups. The red and white label is iconic American imagery. For over a century, Campbell's has promised warmth, comfort, and home-cooked taste from a can. Generations of Americans grew up trusting that familiar label. Your grandmother probably served it. Your mother probably served it. The trust has been passed down through families for over 100 years. But trust does not equal safety. Campbell's condensed chicken noodle soup contains 890 milligrams of sodium per serving. A single can contains about 2.5 servings according to the tiny print on the nutrition label. If you eat the whole can, which is exactly what most people do when they are sick and craving comfort food, you are consuming over 2,200 milligrams of sodium. For seniors managing hypertension, that is a blood pressure spike waiting to happen. The very soup marketed for decades as comfort when you are feeling under the weather could actually be making your heart work harder with every sip. Laboratory testing has revealed concerning levels of BPA in the lining of Campbell's cans. BPA is an industrial chemical that can leach into food, especially acidic foods like tomato-based soups. The heat of processing accelerates this leaching process. Studies have linked BPA exposure to increased risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and hormonal disruption affecting metabolism and cognitive function. Campbell's announced efforts to transition away from BPA linings years ago with great fanfare. Independent testing shows BPA is still present in many products sitting on store shelves right now. Then there is the ingredient list itself. Monosodium glutamate, modified food starch, hydrolyzed protein. These additives can trigger headaches, flushing, and heart palpitations in sensitive individuals. Seniors on multiple medications are especially vulnerable to these reactions because their systems are already working overtime to process pharmaceutical compounds. The broth looks golden and smells like home cooking, but that aroma is engineered in a laboratory by food scientists, not simmered on a stove. The vegetables are mushy, overcooked remnants of what was once real produce. We will show you safer options at the very end. But first, you need to know just how deep this problem goes. Now, at number 11, we have Hormel chili. Hormel promises bold flavor and hearty protein in every spoonful. The image on the can shows thick, chunky chili, loaded with beans and tender pieces of beef, a cowboy meal ready in minutes. The reality inside that can tells a completely different story that the marketing department hopes you never discover. 1 cup of Hormel chili with beans contains 1,060 milligrams of sodium. A standard can hold about 2 cups. Finish the whole thing, which is exactly what the serving size encourages, and you have consumed over 2,100 milligrams of sodium in a single sitting. For anyone monitoring kidney function or taking medication for blood pressure, this is dangerous territory. Excess sodium forces your kidneys to work harder to filter waste from your blood. Over time, this accelerates kidney damage and directly interferes with blood pressure medications. In 2023, Hormel recalled over 2,000 pounds of canned chili products due to possible foreign material contamination. Metal fragments in your food. Let that sink in for a moment. The company issued the recall quietly, buried in FDA notices that most consumers never see. The beef in Hormel chili is heavily processed, treated with nitrates and preservatives to extend shelf life beyond what nature intended. Nitrates have been linked to increased cancer risk, particularly colorectal cancer according to peer-reviewed studies. The World Health Organization classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, the same category as tobacco. The texture is unnervingly smooth, almost paste-like. The beans are soft to the point of being mushy. Open a can and the smell hits you immediately. Salty and vaguely metallic, like a factory floor rather than a kitchen. That is not the aroma of a home-cooked meal lovingly prepared. Why do you think the FDA lets brands use ingredients that are banned in other developed countries around the world? Number 10 brings us to Del Monte canned vegetables. The label shows vibrant green beans glistening with freshness, bright yellow corn kernels bursting with summer sweetness, plump red tomatoes that look garden-picked. The promise is garden-fresh nutrition locked in at peak ripeness. The betrayal happens the moment you actually read the nutrition facts. A single serving of Del Monte cut green beans contains 390 milligrams of sodium. That might seem moderate at first glance, until you realize a can contains about 3.5 servings according to the label. Eat the whole can as a side dish, which millions of Americans do every single day, and you are consuming nearly 1,400 milligrams of sodium from vegetables alone. Vegetables that should be naturally low in sodium are drowning in salt to extend shelf life and enhance flavor that was destroyed during high-temperature processing. Del Monte has faced multiple recalls over the years for underprocessing failures at their facilities. In one documented case, cans of green beans were recalled because they were not heated to temperatures sufficient to kill Clostridium botulinum. That is, the bacteria that causes botulism, one of the most dangerous foodborne illnesses known to medicine. Botulism is rare but deadly. For seniors, the symptoms can mimic stroke, causing paralysis, difficulty breathing, and in severe cases, death. The bacteria produces no visible mold, no off-smell, no warning whatsoever. The vegetables themselves arrive on your plate pale, limp, and nutritionally depleted. The canning process destroys water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C and B vitamins. What remains is a sodium-soaked shadow of real produce. Independent testing has found elevated levels of BPA in Del Monte can linings. The company claims to be transitioning to safer materials. Results lag far behind those promises. Do not go yet. The solution comes at the very end of this video, and it could change how you shop forever. At number 9 is Bumblebee tuna. For decades, Bumblebee has been synonymous with canned tuna in American pantries. Protein-packed, affordable, and convenient. The perfect lunch for a health-conscious senior watching their weight and trying to eat more fish according to their doctor's recommendations. But that little can carries risks that go far beyond the ocean depths. Mercury contamination is a documented and ongoing problem in canned tuna worldwide. Tuna are large predatory fish that accumulate mercury from smaller fish throughout their long lives. The bigger and older the tuna, the more mercury concentrated in its flesh. The FDA has issued advisories warning pregnant women and children to limit tuna consumption strictly. Seniors are rarely mentioned in these warnings despite being equally vulnerable. Mercury exposure can cause neurological damage, memory problems, tremors, and vision changes. For seniors already experiencing age-related cognitive decline, additional mercury exposure accelerates the problem significantly. Bumblebee has faced serious legal and safety issues. In 2015, the company pleaded guilty to federal price-fixing charges. In 2019, Bumblebee filed for bankruptcy protection. A company in financial distress may cut corners on quality control to save money. That is business reality. Consumer complaints have reported cans arriving with bulging lids, an immediate sign of bacterial contamination. Others have found dark, discolored chunks of fish with an ammonia-like smell. The tuna should be pinkish and flaky, with a clean ocean scent. When it is brown and slimy, something has gone seriously wrong. Stick around because the fix is coming, and you will not want to miss what we reveal at the end. Number 8 is Libby's canned pumpkin. Thanksgiving tradition in a can. Homemade pumpkin pie for the holidays. The orange label evokes autumn leaves and family gatherings. Libby's dominates the canned pumpkin market, controlling over 85% of sales in America every single year. But dominance does not mean quality. Here is a betrayal that most consumers never discover. Libby's canned pumpkin is not always actually pumpkin. The FDA allows manufacturers to label certain varieties of squash as pumpkin under outdated guidelines. The Dickinson squash used by Libby's is technically a type of winter squash, not the round orange pumpkins you carve at Halloween. The label says pumpkin in bold letters. The can contains something else entirely. Beyond labeling deception, Libby's canned pumpkin has faced contamination concerns that rarely make headlines. In some production years, elevated levels of pesticide residue were detected in independent testing. Pesticide exposure has been linked to neurological problems, hormone disruption, and increased cancer risk. Seniors are particularly vulnerable because their bodies are less efficient at metabolizing and eliminating toxins. The texture should be smooth and thick, but some batches arrive watery, stringy, or with an off-putting bitter taste. Once you open the can, there is no way to verify freshness. The production date might be 2 years ago or longer. Ever. Notice how the same companies that fund heart-healthy marketing campaigns are the ones selling ultra-processed foods. Think about that next time you see a health claim on a label. Coming up at number 7 is Spam. The blue and yellow can is a cultural icon recognized worldwide. Spam has fed soldiers during wartime, sustained families through the Great Depression, and become a beloved ingredient in Hawaiian cuisine. But nostalgia cannot mask the nutritional nightmare inside that tin can. A single 2-ounce serving of Spam contains 790 milligrams of sodium. The can holds 6 servings total. If you are slicing and frying the entire block for a family meal, you are looking at nearly 4,800 milligrams of sodium. That is more than 3 times the daily limit recommended for seniors with hypertension. 3 days' worth of sodium in one meal. Your blood pressure medication cannot compete with numbers like that. The ingredients list reads like a chemistry experiment. Pork with ham, salt, water, modified potato starch, sugar, sodium nitrite. Sodium nitrite gives processed meats their distinctive pink color and extended shelf life. It is also classified as a probable carcinogen when consumed regularly over time. Hormel, the maker of Spam, has faced FDA warning letters about facility sanitation conditions. Inspection reports have noted improper employee hygiene practices, inadequate pest control measures, and temperature violations during storage and shipping. The texture is dense and aggressively salty, with a gelatinous coating from the aspic that forms during canning. The smell when you open the can is intense and overwhelming. That visceral reaction is not appetite, it is warning. For seniors on blood pressure medication, consuming Spam is essentially working against your own treatment. If this information is helping you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe now. It is completely free and means you will never miss these exposés. At number 6, we find Progresso soups. Progresso markets itself aggressively as the premium alternative to condensed soups, made with real ingredients, better taste, no artificial flavors. The television commercials show steam rising from bowls of hearty goodness. Reality falls far short of those expensive marketing promises. A single cup of Progresso, traditional chicken and wild rice soup, contains 690 milligrams of sodium. The can holds 2 cups. Finish it for lunch, and you have consumed 1,380 milligrams of sodium from what seems like a healthy meal choice. Progresso uses the phrase "no MSG" added prominently on many labels. This is technically true, but deeply misleading. The soups contain hydrolyzed vegetable protein, which naturally contains glutamates, the same compound found in MSG. Consumers carefully avoiding MSG for health reasons are still consuming glutamates without realizing it. For seniors sensitive to these compounds, headaches, flushing, and heart palpitations can result. Independent laboratory testing has found concerning levels of lead in some Progresso products. Lead exposure, even at low levels, has been linked to cognitive decline, memory loss, and kidney damage. There is no safe level of lead consumption for seniors already dealing with age-related health challenges. The soup looks appetizing in photographs, but arrives in reality as a murky broth with floating particles of unidentifiable vegetables. The chicken pieces are sparse, rubbery, and taste nothing like the rotisserie bird pictured on the label. Most people never learn how to protect themselves from these hidden dangers, but we will break it down completely at the very end of this video. Number 5 takes us to Goya canned beans. Goya is a staple in millions of American kitchens across every demographic and region. Black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, chickpeas. The brand promises authentic flavor and affordable nutrition. Beans are supposed to be healthy according to every nutritionist, high in fiber, protein, and essential nutrients. But the canned version tells a very different story. A half-cup serving of Goya black beans contains 460 milligrams of sodium, according to the nutrition label. A typical can contains about 3.5 servings. Consume the whole can as a side dish, which many people do without thinking twice, and you are looking at over 1,600 milligrams of sodium. Dried beans contain almost no sodium naturally. That salt is added during canning to enhance flavor and extend shelf life. The healthy food you think you are eating has been transformed into a sodium delivery system. Consumer reports and food safety organizations have flagged inconsistencies in Goya's quality control over the years. Some cans arrive with beans that are mushy and falling apart. Others contain beans that are undercooked and firm. This batch-to-batch variation suggests processing inconsistencies that could also affect safety. The can lining issue affects Goya products as well. BPA has been detected in independent testing of Goya can linings. The beans sit in contact with this chemically treated lining for months or years before you open the can. Every time you heat those beans, you are potentially increasing BPA leaching into your food. For seniors managing blood pressure and kidney health simultaneously, the sodium load from canned beans can directly interfere with medication effectiveness. What is the worst canned food you have ever opened? Drop your experience in the comments below. At number 4 is Dole canned fruit. The image on the label shows ripe golden peaches with perfect blush coloring, juicy pineapple rings glistening with tropical sweetness, sweet mandarin oranges bursting with sunshine. Fruit is healthy according to every dietary recommendation. Canned fruit should be a convenient way to get your daily servings, but what is actually in that can would shock most consumers. Dole pineapple chunks in heavy syrup contain 21 grams of sugar per half-cup serving. That is over 5 teaspoons of pure sugar in a tiny portion. A full can contains about 4 servings, meaning you could consume over 80 grams of sugar from what seems like a healthy fruit snack. For seniors managing diabetes, this sugar spike can send blood glucose levels into dangerous territory requiring medication adjustment. Even the in 100% juice varieties that seem healthier are not as healthy as they appear. The juice is essentially sugar water, concentrated fruit juice with minimal fiber. The canning process at high temperatures destroys much of the vitamin C and other nutrients naturally present in fresh fruit. In 2014, Dole recalled hundreds of cases of canned mandarin oranges due to potential glass fragment contamination. Glass in your fruit. How many cans were already consumed before anyone knew about the problem? The texture of canned fruit is unmistakably processed, soft to the point of mushy with no resistance. Pears that dissolve on your tongue. Peaches with no firmness whatsoever. The fruit has been processed until it bears little resemblance to its fresh counterpart. For seniors with dentures or sensitive teeth, the soft texture might seem appealing, but you are trading convenience for nutrition with every spoonful. Number 3 is Armour Vienna sausages. The tiny cans are cheap at less than $1 in most stores, portable for lunches, and protein-rich according to the marketing. Vienna sausages have been a pantry staple for generations of Americans. But these little links pack a dangerous punch. A single can of Armour Vienna sausages contains 1,920 milligrams of sodium, one small can. Over 1,100 milligrams. That is nearly 75% of the daily recommended sodium intake for a healthy adult, consumed in what seems like a small snack. For seniors with hypertension, this is cardiovascular Russian roulette. The ingredients list is deeply concerning. Mechanically separated chicken and pork, water, salt, corn syrup, sodium nitrite. Mechanically separated. Meat is produced by forcing bones with attached edible meat through a sieve under extremely high pressure. The resulting pink paste is then formed into sausages. This process allows manufacturers to use parts of the animal that would otherwise be discarded as waste. Consumer complaints describe opening cans to find sausages covered in thick, gelatinous slime, with an overwhelming salty, metallic taste. The texture is soft and almost rubbery with unnatural uniformity. The uniform pink color comes from nitrite preservatives rather than actual meat quality. Sodium nitrite, present in all Vienna sausages, has been linked to increased risk of colorectal cancer, stomach cancer, and pancreatic cancer. The World Health Organization considers processed meats containing nitrites to be carcinogenic. Every can consumed is a step toward long-term health consequences. Do you think these recalls are random accidents, or just the ones they actually got caught on? At number 2 is Dinty Moore beef stew. The image on the can shows hearty chunks of tender beef, thick brown gravy, golden potatoes, and orange carrots in a rustic bowl. A complete meal in convenient can form. For seniors living alone without the energy to cook full meals, it seems like an easy, filling dinner option. The reality inside that can is far less appetizing. A single cup of Dinty Moore beef stew contains 990 milligrams of sodium. The can holds 2 cups. Eat the whole thing, which is exactly what most people do, because 1 cup is not a satisfying meal, and you have consumed nearly 2,000 milligrams of sodium. That exceeds the entire daily recommended limit for seniors with heart conditions in one sitting. 1 can, 1 meal, an entire day worth of sodium. The beef chunks are small, tough, and fatty, nothing like the tender pieces shown in the advertisement photography. The potatoes are soft to the point of disintegrating when stirred. The carrots are pale orange, mushy, and devoid of the natural sweetness found in fresh vegetables. The gravy is aggressively salty, thick with modified food starch, and leaves an unpleasant coating on your tongue. Hormel, the manufacturer of Dinty Moore, has faced FDA warning letters about facility conditions at their production plants. Reports have documented inadequate employee hand-washing stations, pest activity in production areas, and temperature violations during storage and shipping. These conditions create opportunities for bacterial contamination that consumers never see. BPA lining concerns affect Dinty Moore cans as well. The acidic tomato base in the stew can accelerate BPA leaching from can linings into your food. For seniors on fixed incomes, cheap canned meals seem like smart budget choices. But the hidden costs show up later in doctor visits, medication adjustments, and declining health. You will not believe what the next one hides. The number 1 worst canned food you should never buy is coming right now. And at number 1 is Great Value Canned Vegetables from Walmart. The store brand that promises identical quality at lower prices. Savings you can taste according to the marketing. Walmart's Great Value line dominates the canned vegetable market through sheer volume and aggressive affordability. Millions of Americans trust the brand automatically because they trust Walmart. That trust may be dangerously misplaced. Great Value canned vegetables are sourced from multiple suppliers, often located overseas in countries with different safety standards. Quality control varies dramatically between suppliers and production runs. Inspection reports from FDA and state agriculture departments have documented concerning findings at facilities producing Great Value products, including improper temperature controls during processing, inadequate sanitation procedures, and pest activity in production and storage areas. In 2021, Great Value canned sweet peas were recalled due to potential underprocessing that was discovered during routine testing. Underprocessed canned vegetables can harbor Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria that causes botulism. Symptoms begin subtly with difficulty swallowing and progress to muscle weakness, paralysis, and respiratory failure. For seniors with already compromised immune systems, botulism can be fatal. The recall was issued through official FDA channels, but most consumers never heard about it. Sodium levels in Great Value canned vegetables are comparable to national brands with all the same health concerns. A single serving of Great Value cut green beans contains 400 milligrams of sodium. Consume the whole can, and you are looking at over 1,400 milligrams from what should be a healthy vegetable. BPA concerns are even more pronounced with store brands operating on thin profit margins. Budget constraints mean cheaper materials, including can linings that may contain higher levels of BPA. Independent testing has found variable results across Great Value products, suggesting inconsistent quality control. The vegetables arrive pale, soft, and nutritionally depleted. Green beans that are grayish-green instead of vibrant. Corn that tastes like metal rather than garden produce. The promise of everyday low prices comes with hidden costs measured in health rather than dollars. Why are seniors targeted with heart-healthy labels that hide sky-high sodium levels? It is a question the food industry does not want you asking. Now here's what you have been waiting for. The information that could change your health for the better. 2 canned foods that are actually safe. The first safe option is Eden Organic canned beans. Eden Organic has been using BPA-free can linings since 1999. That is over 25 years of commitment to consumer safety, long before other brands even acknowledged that BPA was a problem worth addressing. They were leaders when the rest of the industry was in denial. Their beans are available in low sodium or completely no salt added varieties, with some options containing less than 40 milligrams of sodium per serving. That is almost nothing compared to conventional brands. The beans are cooked properly using traditional methods with consistent texture and quality across batches regardless of when you buy them. No mushy disasters, no undercooked hard beans, just reliable quality every time you open a can. The company sources exclusively from American family farms, with documented organic practices verified by third-party certification. Independent testing by consumer advocacy groups has consistently shown Eden products to be free from concerning contaminants. The cans are clearly labeled with transparent ingredient lists. What you see is what you get. For seniors managing blood pressure, kidney health, or heart conditions, Eden organic beans provide the protein and fiber benefits of legumes without the dangerous sodium overload. You can control the salt yourself to taste rather than having dangerous amounts forced upon you by the manufacturer. The price is slightly higher than bargain brands, but your health is worth every penny. The second safe option is Wild Planet canned seafood. Wild Planet uses sustainably caught, low-mercury fish with transparent sourcing from pole and line fishing operations that minimize bycatch. These fishing methods target smaller, younger fish that have not accumulated the mercury levels found in larger specimens. Their products are packed in BPA-free cans, with no added salt options available for those monitoring sodium intake carefully. The company publishes mercury testing results directly on their website for anyone to verify. That level of transparency is virtually unheard of in the canned seafood industry, where most brands hide behind corporate secrecy. Independent testing by Consumer Reports and other watchdog organizations has consistently shown Wild Planet tuna and salmon to contain lower mercury levels than competing brands. The fish is packed fresh at peak quality with firm texture and clean taste that actually resembles real seafood you would order at a quality restaurant. The flaky chunks are pink and appetizing with natural color. The smell when you open the can is fresh ocean, not industrial chemicals. For seniors seeking the omega-3 benefits of fish without the mercury contamination and sodium overload concerns, Wild Planet offers a genuinely safer alternative backed by testing and transparency. The price is higher than budget brands, but investing in your health today saves money on medical bills tomorrow. Your pantry could be working against you right now. Those convenient cans sitting on your shelves might be silently damaging your heart, straining your kidneys, and exposing you to chemicals that should never touch your food. Now you know which brands to avoid and which ones actually deserve your trust and your money. The choice is yours. Keep gambling with your health every time you open a can, or make smarter choices starting today with your very next shopping trip. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.